Hello and welcome to Mulch, with me, your host Rebecca Anning-Brown. This is a weekly podcast for flower farmers who want to build a confident flower farming practice that reflects the lifestyle that you want now and in the future. Each week I'll share conversation and tips to nurture and grow you and your flower farm. I'll open conversations that flower farmers find difficult to talk about, provide approaches that will help you to make decisions, chuckle at the idiosyncrasies of our work, and always be real and honest about my own work as a flower farmer. My goal is to help you to grow a curious, confident and grounded flower farming practice that flourishes as a business that you love and are proud to shout about. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel, and if you like what you hear, please do leave a review and share the podcast with your flower farming friends. It really does help to grow a confident and successful flower farming community.
Good morning everyone and welcome back to Mulch. How are you? Me personally, I am tired and I am warm. And frankly, so are our plants. Most of them are absolutely loving the blast of warmth that we've had here in Yorkshire over the past week or so. A few are a bit grumpy and sulky, but the majority have said, "Oh, hey, this is sunlight and warmth. Let's grow, grow, grow." And it is so welcome. This weekend, we have started turning over the beds at Silver Grey HQ, and today we will be sorting out the tiny tunnel and continuing with Project Plant Everything Out. Now that's a slightly ridiculous engagement that Gemma and I have been working on for the past 3, 4, 5 weeks, maybe the past 2 months. Like Project Plant Everything Out seems to be going on forever, which is exciting. It's a sign of how much we're growing. It's a sign of how much I hope I plan to cut. I am excited, really excited. I kind of feel like the season started at the back end of February and it's just kind of carried on building. And whilst we're cutting and selling lots of stems, I still feel like we haven't quite kind of reached that kind of pace and stride that I want to be at, which isn't a worry. It's just a sign of maybe progress and how much more I look forward to being able to grow in the future. Now, one of the things that will help us to grow more is having more pairs of hands. So in this episode today, we are talking about getting help on your flower farm. And we are going to use something called the 5 Whys model to help us with that. So to introduce the 5 Whys model, I heard about it first with Sophie Cliff. Now, if you have listened to the podcast before, you will know that I'm a huge fan of Sophie Cliff. She is a positive psychologist, a business coach, a mentor, or she works with corporates and individuals. She has a group program called the Choose Joy Club. I'm not a member of it. I am not an affiliate. I am not being paid to say this. I just really like her work and her ethos. And so if you don't already listen to her podcast, it's called Practical Positivity, and it's incredibly helpful. Last week's episode, in fact, after last week's episode, I dropped her a message to say, I think this is your best episode ever yet. It was prompted by Mental Health Awareness Week last week. And it was in parts a summary of some of the things that are in her book, and in parts some new ways of thinking. And the one that I'm going to apply today and use from that is the 5 Whys model. So the purpose of the 5 Whys model is to check if your motivations or the reasons that you're doing something are genuine for you as an individual and as a business. And to just look at those reasons and identify whether they are the correct drivers. So to give an example, because I think examples really help from the outset to frame how you think about what's to come. I am going to use the example of nail painting. Now, bear with me on this one. Anyone who's listened to the podcast before will know that there is logic in my madness. So listen, because it's not as ridiculous as it sounds. So if you were to ask yourself, why do you paint your nails? And this example that I'm going to give first isn't me. You might say, well, I paint my nails to hide the terrible condition that my nails are in. Okay, so why are my nails in such poor condition? Well, they're in poor condition because I've been painting them for decades. Why have you been painting your nails for decades? Because my industry expects it of me and therefore I do it. Okay, why does your industry expect you to paint your nails? Because how I look is important to my employers and to my field. Okay, so why is nail paint important to your employers? Because it's important that I'm on brand. So that is one set of answers that might be given. I'm not going to identify professions that might apply to, but I'm sure that some of you would be able to think of one or two or three. I chose this example because over the past 6 months, I have started painting my nails. Now, a number of you have noted in your comments or replies to Instagram stories that my nails are on brand. So yes, they are yellow. Often, sometimes they're navy, sometimes they're dark green. And those are all colours within our branding. However, I don't think I've ever responded to those directly with the reasons why my nails are in those colours and why I'm painting my nails. And it makes me chuckle so much that people find this interesting that I thought I would use this as my example. So, Rebecca, why do you paint your nails? Because it's a fun way to pass half an hour from time to time. Why do you find it fun to paint your nails? Mainly because I can. Okay, but Rebecca, why is because I can enough of a reason? Because nail painting, for me, was not permitted in my previous careers. Interesting. Why does painting your nails, now that it's permitted, feel important? Well, it's not important, it's just fun. Okay, why is painting my nails, because it's fun, a way to pass half an hour? Because I enjoy it and I love having yellow nails. Why do you love having yellow nails? Because to me, it seems silly. It's completely frivolous and yet cheap and quite a mindful pastime. And also, yellow is my favourite colour. Why are you painting your nails yellow if it seems silly? Because silly things make me smile. And if I can't smile, I'm not going to feel as much joy as I could. And frankly, if I have to be serious all the time, what is the point in running my own business? So there you go. It's worth me adding here that the reason I describe painting my nails as cheap is because I do it myself. I buy a £3 bottle of Rimmel London 60-second shine. I've got it in front of me and I'm just painting my nails. But I think it's helpful to point out that I'm not going for a manicure every week. I don't have any qualms about anybody else choosing to spend their money that way, but it's not for me. Half an hour painting my nails with paint that I know is going to get completely chipped and ruined by having my hands in mud all day, most days, is fine with me. The 5 Whys model is an excellent way. Excellent is a word that reminds me of my dad. It's the highest form of praise that you can receive, according to my children, and a word that only he can say with true meaning. My dad's on my thoughts and my mind a lot at the moment. He's not very well. So the word excellent is one that we've been using at home a lot to try and cheer ourselves up about that. However, I'm going to borrow it today, maybe not with the same authority, and suggest to you all that excellent is a way to describe the 5 Whys model or exercise. And the reason for that is because it really drills down into the purpose. It really drills down into your reasons. And if you can keep answering that question, why, with good reasons, then for me, I agree that that's a really good kind of instigator, a really good set of proofs that what you are choosing to do is relevant and appropriate to you. Okay, so back to today's episode. It's not about nail painting. I've chosen this topic because today, Monday the 20th of May, marks the first day of our first formal member of staff, like a permanent member of staff. So I thought I would look at the reasons that Anthony and I have made a decision to employ a member of staff. And I thought I'd take you back to the first time we asked ourselves that question. So Gemma first started working for us 3 years ago. If you don't know who Gemma is Gemma of Wildwood Corner, at Wildwood Corner on Instagram. Go and give her a follow. She has her own flower farm. She is a wonderful florist and I enjoy working with her. But all of that aside, when she started working with us, it was 1 day a week for 4 to 5 hours. And it was at the same time as I managed to kind of squish together one dedicated day on the farm a week. Now, that's one dedicated day to our business in every 7. And that was squished in between my jobs, and I do mean jobs at the time in plural, and the kids and Anthony's job and all sorts of other things. We were not at that point what I would consider to be a profitable business. But we were earning a regular income. No matter how large or small, it was regular and it was predictable. And I knew that we would be able to pay Gemma, which is a really important feature of taking on any member of staff, no matter what your responsibilities to them are as an employer, as an employee. No matter what your responsibilities are to them as their employer. So one of the things that was abundantly apparent at the time was that I wouldn't be able to get everything done that I needed to do in 1 day. And we desperately wanted to keep growing. So 3 years ago, the 5 whys question sounded something like this. Why do you need help? Because I only have 1 day a week. Why is only having 1 day a week affecting your process, your business? Because I can only do so much on my own in 1 day. Why does it matter that you can only do so much on your own? Well, because the list of jobs is long and I'm worried that I won't complete all of the important jobs in a timely manner. Or why are you worried about not getting the important stuff done? Because they're the habits that keep the plants healthy, make sure we have a product to sell, and therefore keep money coming in so that we can grow. Why is it important to keep money coming in? Because this allows us to keep growing the business and to get to the place where we want and need it to be. Why can't you get to that place that you want and need it to be in on your own? Because I'll burn out. I don't want to do that. I want to enjoy every possible moment of my business. So employing Gemma then as a freelancer was not about making more money. And it still isn't really to a degree. Though obviously we're a business, and to grow a business and to make sure that we can support ourselves now and in the future, and in the future being when we retire and the kids are hopefully grown and flown and whatever, to make sure that we can do those things, we need to have a consistent and growing income because the cost of daily life is going up. It's not going down. And that's just fact. That's not me moaning. So it was about, at the time, it was about being able to do the work in a really confined portion of time that allowed us to grow the business. And in reality, it was a stretch. It was a stretch to be able to pay Gemma initially. But the more we got done, the more I was able to cut. And the more I was able to cut, the more I was able to sell. The better prepared we were for each and every week in the future and every stem that we would plant and plan to cut. So, this is all very lovely. That day a week of help has been pretty consistent. If you take out that bit of maternity leave and the gorgeous baby, whose name I'm not going to say because I don't think it's been declared on social media, but she's gorgeous. Anyway, it's all good and well saying that we made those decisions for those reasons at that time, but we've had that help and the business has continued to grow over the past 3 years since Gemma has been working with us. So you might ask the question, well, 5 years into the business, why are you changing that if everything is moving in the right direction? So to give an idea of the difference in scale of our business between now and then, we, at the time, when Gemma started working for us, grew on about half an acre, and not all of that was cultivated, and we're now renting 1.4 acres, of which the majority, so approximately 85%, is now cultivated. Last season we cut 80,000 stems, and that was off about a third of our 1.4 acres. So the 1.4 is what we went up to last year. And we've been gradually making better and better use of the bed spaces that we've made over that time. We're growing more, we're cutting more, and we're planning more for us as individuals, at the work that we do, and for the work that we do with you as well. So that at the back end of 2023, last year, we found ourselves needing more pairs of hands at the busiest time of our week. So our week is very front-ended, so Monday to Wednesday, and that's deliberate for us in terms of our family life and the customers that we work with for the majority of the time. So let's repeat that exercise 3 years down the line, 5 to 6 years into silver grey foliage, and see what the wise would say about employing a member of staff. So, why did you want more help, or why do you want more help at silver grey foliage? Because I envisage not being able to get enough done with only 1 day a week of support. Why do you envisage not being able to get everything done? Because we grow across 2 sites, effectively, and there are now more plants to care for and more flowers to cut. There's a lot more plants to care for. Why does having more plants and flowers mean that you need more help? Well, because whilst I can care for and cut all of this on my own, and it is possible, what I cannot do is care for and cut all the plants and whatever, and deal with the admin that it generates without becoming exhausted. Why does it matter if you're exhausted? Now, this may seem like a really silly question, because after all, it's my business, and working hard is tiring, and that's just a fact. So here's my answer. Because exhausted is not the same as tired. Tired is a physical feeling that can be replenished with rest, food, hydration, and time. Exhaustion is physical and mental, and that limits my complete ability to function, and it takes more than rest, food, hydration, and time to be able to overcome exhaustion. That complete functional ability stops you from being able to think, to coordinate, to plan, and to do all the things that you need to be able to do logistically for a business, which ultimately means that you end up finding more help. So we're preempting that situation where it's impossible to function effectively because your ability to run a business deteriorates with exhaustion. So, just as a small segue, I think I've covered this before, but I think it's really important to focus on that last bit just for a moment. My business needs me to be well because I am my business. Now, that concept of me being my business is one that was floated to me right at the beginning of Silver Grey Foliage, and I went, what a load of nonsense. I wasn't quite so polite about it, but I list these recordings as being clean, so I have to maintain a little cleanliness to my language choice. I thought it was a load of nonsense, but it's not. Like, the way that we operate, the things that we grow, are a reflection of my view on sustainability. They're a reflection of what I consider to be beautiful. If I don't enjoy growing something, I won't grow it. Much as I love my customers, if I don't enjoy growing it, I'm not going to grow it well. And so there's no point. My business and our values, how we work with our customers, how we work with Gemma and look after her and her family, is a reflection on how I would want to be treated by an employer. All of those things are incredibly relevant. What you see on social media, I think it always makes me laugh when people meet me and say, oh, just like you are on social media. And that's because there's no pretense here at Silver Grey Foliage. I am what I am. I am who I am. And in my own business, I don't plan to be doing any pretending. It's a really hard concept to get your head around, being your business. But once you do get your head around it, it makes it much easier to move forward. It's not being pig-headed. It's not being big for your boots. It's just the honest truth. I hate the word just. It's the honest truth. So when I got to the end of the section of whys, in summary, they translate to these things. I can't reach where I want us to get to as a business on my own. That's no different from the main reason last time when we first enjoyed working with Gemma, yes, but employed Gemma. I want and need to be well to get where I want us to reach, because my business is me. And so the benefits of engaging more help at Silver Grey Foliage outweigh the challenges of the risks. This is a huge step for us here at Silver Grey Foliage, and it's really exciting. We've made the decision to employ one person rather than instructing multiple freelancers. Now, this is a personal decision. And it's a decision that we've made for a number of reasons. Some are business reasons, but actually, for the most part, it's a personal decision about how we want to operate, who we want to work with, and how we want to support our employee. Because I'm not guaranteeing that we will ever have employees. I'm not trying to build a multinational, multi-million pounds business. But that's not to say that we wouldn't need more help in the future. There are lots of ways that you can get help on your flower farm, and that's one of the things that we will cover in the Flower Farmers course that is coming, that will start in September, and we'll be talking about that more as we go on. The key thing is the why you do it has to be consistent with your values and with your intentions to move forward, and how you do it has to support you. I'm slightly distracted because I'm looking out of the window and watching blackbirds hop from crate to crate to crate. So many of you will know that we crate all of our tulips, and those crated tulips are now emptied, and we have our patio back, which is very exciting. Some of them are now full of 9cm pots of cuttings that have been potted up. So they're cuttings that were taken in autumn last year, and I potted them up a few weeks ago. I just watched two blackbirds almost doing a race from one end to the other. It's quite funny to watch. Anyway, back to the reality of the podcast. I'm not supposed to be talking about blackbirds at all. I'm supposed to be talking about the 5 Whys exercise, and I'm supposed to be talking about making decisions about getting help on your flower farm. The reason that I've come to this point is because it's really about what you are wanting help with. So for me, I need hands-on help that's flexible and capable, that understands how we work and who we are, and that I trust to be in our space. I talked about our home last week and about the safety that our home has always offered in other working environments. And part of our business works from our base, or from our home. And so there's a limit to the number of people that I want coming in and out of our home. There's a limit to the number of people that we have space for in our home, and so on and so forth. So employing one person for more days makes more sense to us, amongst other reasons, than having multiple freelancers. Going back to the first example that I used, I know it might have seemed like a silly example. However, if you were listening to me carefully, the example distinguished between doing something because you feel that you should, and doing it because you feel like you're obliged to, and doing something because you want to. As my children demonstrate every day of the week, doing things because you should rather than because you want to always encourages more than a hint of disinterest, which is never ever positive or productive. Now, I rarely use the word always because very few things are always, and you should really be very careful, in my humble opinion, using the word always when you're being critical of your spouse, because it's not true. There are very few things that people do always, and it's, I think, a dangerous word in an argument to use. But anyway, this is not an argument. This is discussion. This is a podcast about flower farming and growing. I digress. The key thing is that the outcomes of your whys should be positive, productive. They should move you forward in the present moment towards your future goal. The message I really want you to take from all of this is that the reasons and the being able to keep those reasons flowing through 5 or more cycles of whys are that basis of confident decision making. So I offer one-to-one mentoring sessions with flower farmers to help you to make confident decisions on a range of challenges in your flower farm. I help flower farmers to make their reasons really clear and defined, and to take their next steps confidently. And that doesn't always mean taking the steps that people expect at the beginning of a session. So recent mentoring sessions have been on topics like pricing, planning ahead, choosing where to focus your business, and identifying the right specialist crop for you to grow. To book a session, click on the link in the show notes or drop me a line and I can direct you to the right place. Thank you for listening. I'll be back next week with another episode of Mulch related to your flower farming practice and I. Whatever you're cutting, have a fabulous week. Rebecca.
Thank you for listening to Mulch. I hope that you found it useful. To find the show notes, head back to our website where you'll find links to all the things that I've been talking about in today's episode. If you're on Instagram, you can find us at Silver Grey Foliage. I would appreciate it so much if you were able to share this episode in your Instagram stories. And if you are able to leave a review, it really will help more people to get on and grow. I'll be back with you next Monday to talk about more flower farming in practice. Rebecca.